Hey guys, what's going on? So, I figured that because we don't have any Celtics tonight, we'll recap last night. And I also have a topic that I think is pretty interesting. I did some research. I was just on the computer doing some stats searching. And I want to know what you guys think about this topic. But first, just want to take the time to appreciate this shirt. Honey Nut Carmelo's, because I miss KG, that's number one, and let's just have a moment of silence for Carmelo Anthony and the lack of a career that he has right now. And honestly, the way that Jimmy Butler is going, I'm kind of worried for him. I kind of feel like he's going to follow in the same footsteps and be a good player that just can't play with anybody. You really can't get along with your teammates? Like, come on, bro. Come on. It's basketball. Just play the game. Anyways, let's talk about last night. Celtics, they're now on a 2-game win streak. They beat the Dallas Mavericks 114-93. So going into this game, the Mavericks were 18-19. They were 11th in the West. But listen, don't get caught up in those numbers because the West is stacked. Literally, all of the teams besides the Phoenix Suns, because the Suns are way out of it at this point, but all of the other teams are within 2 games of each other and within 10 games from the 1 seed, which is the Denver Nuggets, which is crazy because now the Golden State Warriors dropped down to the 3rd spot. So not really sure what's happening with the Warriors. They've lost now 3 games in a row at home at Oracle. They don't really do that. So Kerr is pretty upset and Curry is even more upset. So we'll stay on watch with that since we're almost at the halfway point. There's 82 games in a season. We're almost at that 40-point matchup. That 40-point standings. They're getting close. And it's a really tight race. But anyways, back to the Celtics. So, Hospital Celtics is what they're being called. No Baines, no Kyrie Irving, no Robert Lob Williams, and no Marcus Morris. They were, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say they were a seriously small lineup last night against the Dallas Mavericks. And the Mavericks were a completely full-strength, full-healthy team. And for them, their star player, Doncic, Luka, he surprisingly is a rookie all-star contender right now. He's 2nd in the votes for the West. And that's pretty unbelievable as a rookie to be voted in for the All-Star. So he honestly, to me though, did not shine last night at all. He ended up with, let me see what I wrote. He had 19 points and 9 rebounds. I mean, that's decent. He's been averaging a lot better than that. So it seemed like the Celtics were able to shut him down last night. I guess one of the major stories of last night was Dirk, big man Dirk Nowitzki. It's potentially his last game as a Dallas Maverick in the Garden, and he's been there for 21 seasons. You know, people don't do that anymore. That's not going to happen now in this generation of basketball. They want to sign for the big number contracts, and they're not really... People now aren't really loyal to one franchise anymore. You're not going to have the Paul Pierces, the Kobe Bryants, the Dirk Nowitzkis, the Dwayne Wades. You're not going to see that going forward. So we're seeing history being made and we're seeing history kind of ending because I honestly don't see that happening. A lot of people say that they want Tatum to be the next Paul Pierce type person for the Celtics. But who knows, you know, could he be traded? Could he be enticed to go somewhere else with a bigger number contract? So we'll see if that can actually happen in the future here. But I think that that'll be the end of players having 10-year-long careers in one franchise, which it's sad, but I guess we kind of saw the end of it here with Dirk. He couldn't even score 1 point. It was so sad. Everyone in the Garden was cheering for him, rooting for him. Even Brad Stevens in his post-game interview said, "I've rooted for an opponent to score twice in my life. And it was Paul Pierce, because obviously it should be Paul Pierce, and it was Dirk Nowitzki. Because, listen, those guys are just quality. They're legends. And you want to see them win. You want to see them break a record. You want to see them go out on top and have that farewell tour that they deserve. So, unfortunately, he couldn't get a bucket last night, but the fans gave him a standing ovation, as they rightfully should, and they gave him the respect that he deserved. And, of course, the Boston Celtics fans are always like that. We are classy, and we will give credit where credit is due. So, the Celtics started Jaylen Brown and Terry Rozier due to the absence of Baines, Irving, and Morris. And again, it was the next man up mentality. The Celtics had 5 steals in the first 4 minutes of play. Turnovers were really crazy in the first quarter, but it ended up evening out throughout the game. The Mavericks had 14 for the game and the Celtics had 13. So it was pretty even in terms of turnovers. And it was, to everyone's surprise, Wanamaker and Ojale got subbed in early in the first quarter. But you had to expect that Celtics were down 4 players. But what was really touching to me is when I was listening to Wanamaker's post-game live, is he was so ecstatic. He was so happy. And what you don't know about Wanamaker is this. He's 29 years old. He turned down an overseas contract, which I'm sure would have been a lot more money and a lot more playing time than he gets for the Celtics. And he wanted to take that chance because he wanted to be in the NBA. He wanted to be in the American League, not in the European League. And he hasn't been really getting his opportunities. But you know what? He absolutely capitalized when he got his time to shine last night. He got in 9 minutes, he got 8 points. He had back-to-back threes that really helped them get back into the game. He just was unbelievable. Brad was really singing his praises last night. The question was asked about Jaylen Brown. And Brad said, you know what? Yeah, Brown's good. But Wanamaker was great. And we want to see him get more opportunities. And we're all really happy for him that he got that opportunity and he made the most with his minutes. And that was really good to hear and good to see. Again, it's about teamwork, team unity. It's all about that. So that was really awesome to hear and to see from Wanamaker. Hopefully, with all of these guys out, he gets more opportunities. It was awesome to see him come in the first quarter. That's great. So hopefully that'll carry through in the next games, especially against the Nets, who apparently I blinked and I saw now that the Nets are in the 8th spot in the Eastern Conference. Like, what? I'm sorry. What? The Brooklyn Nets are 8th? What's going on here in the East? I'm so confused, like beyond confusion as to why they're even in the running right now for the playoffs. Like, that's absurd. But anyways, let's talk about more players from last night. So Celtics, maintained a good lead. They ended up, losing how many points was it? I think it was, they were up by like 21 points. Hold on. Let me just go through my notes here. No, they had a 17-point lead. I'm sorry. They had a 17-point lead, and the Mavericks cut it down to 1. So again, it's always in the third quarter. I don't know what's going on with the Celtics in the third quarter. They started off the game with a 21 to 37 run for the Celtics, and then after doing that run, they went on a 2-17 run. So not good. But however, thank God the third quarter wasn't that bad because the Celtics actually outscored the Mavericks 26-17 in the third. So breaking bad habits, which is good, which is really good. You see DeAndre Jordan, he had a double-double, as he always will, because he's always going to have a crazy amount of rebounds. He's huge. Whether it's offensive or defensive rebounds, he's always getting boards. You didn't see the hack of Jordan here. Usually with someone like DeAndre Jordan or Dwight Howard, because they're so big, they have a really hard time shooting free throws. They're more the guys that are under the basket to get the tip in or to get the layup or to get the alley-oop. They are not the types to shoot from the three-point range or from the arc. They just can't do it. And so he really wasn't put to the free throw line. So the Mavericks kind of got lucky with that one. He was not tested at the free-point line. Hayward, is he back? Is he back? Double-double. He was 2 assists shy of a triple-double. 16, 11, and 8. And you know what? Listening to Hayward's post-game, it was crazy because Abby Chin asked him and said, how do you feel that you've never had a career triple-double? How do you feel about coming this close to a triple-double? And he said, listen, he said, it's a balance between getting buckets for myself and getting buckets for my teammates. And then he said, you guys don't know this, but I love assists. I love making plays for my teammates. So I guess that is the role this year of Gordon Hayward. He's going to be off the bench because Brad likes him off the bench. He's only going to start if he has to. But right now, I think that's where he needs to be, because if you come back from shattering your ankle, taking a year off because you can't play, mentally you're not there, and it's just one of those things where the recovery time is to be determined. You see here that he's really trying to make his way back, and he's realizing that he's more a facilitator than a scorer. He averaged like 20-something points when he was on the Jazz. That was his best year in 2016, 17, or 15, 16, whatever it was. The year before we grabbed him, he was having the best year. He was an all-star for the Jazz. But now he needs to share that limelight with Kyrie Irving, who is another all-star. But it seems as though Hayward is slowly finding where he fits in on the Celtics team, and that is, he's trying to do it all. But mainly, his focus, he said, is assists. So that was an interesting thing there. So who else? Celtics shooting 46.7% from three-point range and 43.8% from the field. Those are great numbers. Really great. And a major key that was highlighted is that the Celtics had over 30 assists as a team. That's huge. Sharing the ball movement. That's awesome. Really awesome. And then Jaylen Brown, 21 points for the game. He was the leading scorer. Al Horford also flirted with a triple-double. He was 10, 8, and 8 for the game. For the Mavericks, Barnes was their leading scorer with 20 points. He actually got hot at the end there. He had a bunch of back-to-back threes. He was doing really well at the end, getting that opportunity to score. Again, Luka, 19 points, 9 rebounds. And unfortunately, like I said, Nowitzki didn't score. But yeah, the Celtics, the highest lead of their night was 23 points. So yeah, I was right. I knew I was right on that. But yeah, ended up winning the game. 114-93 was the end score. But here's what I want to talk about. The absence of Kyrie Irving. He's already missed 4 games this year, and they are 3-1 without him on the court. And that made me think, okay, what happened last year? I needed to refresh my memory as to how many games did he miss? How did the Celtics do without him on the court? Because to me, seeing the hospital Celtics, as they're calling them right now, seeing them right now play without Kyrie, it seems like they play better together. Honestly, like, they seem so much more confident when Kyrie's off the court, and that sucks. Because Kyrie is an all-star, and you need him down the stretch. But let me take you back. So, in the absence of Kyrie Irving is what this segment is going to be called. He missed 41 games last year. That's including playoffs. He missed 22 regular season games. And the Celtics were 14-8 without him. And then he missed all of playoffs, which were 19 games. He ended up missing 34 games in a row. That's insane. That's like they never had him, honestly, in my opinion. I just want to take you through that. So within the 41 games, that's including regular season and playoffs, the Celtics record was 25-16 without Irving. So not super drastic. It wasn't like, 30-10 or like they only lost 2 games without him or something like that. It wasn't a crazy differential, but it seems the records are showing even this year 3-1 without him. It's just seeming like something isn't right when Kyrie Irving is on the floor. It seems like he doesn't really facilitate. He's more of a ball hog, for lack of a better word, in my opinion. Let's go back. So all the way back in 2017, back in November 10th, it was against the Hornets. He played for 1 minute, and then he exited the game, and they were on a 10-game win streak at this point. And they won the game 90-87 after he exited the game with 1 minute into it. Then, the following game, he was out against the Raptors. It was November 12th, and they beat the Raptors 95-94. Super close game. That was their 11th game win streak. So this was back in the day when they had a 16-game win streak after losing 0-2 to start the season. So they were still winning games without Hayward and Irving in that win streak. Crazy. Then I'm going to take you to February 4th against the Blazers. He missed 3 games in a row, and they were on a 3-game win streak. And then he played the next day, and they lost. Is that irony? They had a momentum. You saw that. They had 3 games that they were winning together, playing cohesively without Irving. And then as soon as he went in the next day, they lost? I don't know. Something to look into. But here is the real kicker here. March 14th. This is the start of no more Irving for the entire rest of the season. March 14th, he went down. They continued playing until mid-May. So imagine, you're out your star point guard, you're out your all-star pickup Hayward from day one, and you are going halfway through your season without these 2 guys. So at the beginning, you kind of see, they lost, they won, they lost, they won. And then they went on a 6-game win streak when he missed 9 of those 6 games. Now they're getting that momentum again. Now they're getting that chemistry back with him off the court and off the court for good for this game, for this year. Fast forward, playoffs. Playoffs were insane, okay? They went on a 7-game series against the Milwaukee Bucks. They were undefeated at home. Then they played the Sixers, beat them in 5. Still undefeated at home. And then they took on the big bad Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James. And you know what? I've never seen more fight from a team. Never in my life. It was bench players galore. Brad, at this point, only played 7, 8 players. He just didn't feel the need to play more bench players because the players that were starters were bench players. So not only did he not feel the need, he really didn't even have the depth. So it's not that it wasn't a necessity. It's the fact that he just didn't have the means. He didn't have the backup. So they went on a 7-game series again, but against the Cavaliers. And at this point, they were undefeated at home in the playoffs. Both times during the Sixers, the Bucks, and the Cavs playoff matchups, they went on 2 3-game win streaks in playoffs without Irving, without Hayward. That's crazy. They ended up losing, as we all know, to the Cleveland Cavaliers in a Game 7. The Cavs went off to go to the championship against Golden State, and they lost again. So cry, LeBron, cry. But yeah, it's just crazy. Like, you think that the Celtics can't win games without Hayward and without Irving, but if you check the facts, look at the stats. They were 25-16 for the 41 games that Kyrie Irving missed. 34 games of which were consecutive games that he missed. He missed the entire playoffs. Like, that's insane. He missed the entire playoffs and they made it to the third round? 2 7-game series? Are you kidding me? So the question has to be asked. Do the Celtics need Kyrie Irving? Do you think it would have made a difference if they had him for that matchup against LeBron and the Cavaliers? Would it have mattered? That's what we have to find out, because now we are almost 40 games halfway through the 82-game season. Celtics are 5th in the Eastern Conference. They are now 23-15. 2-game win streak. Just got the win over the Mavericks at home. They face the Nets on Monday, who are now the 8th seed, which I still can't even fathom that. It makes me super confused. But anyways, Irving has now missed 4 games so far. And Terry Rozier has had to step up. And now I see that Wanamaker might get that shot because he played phenomenal last night. 8 points in 9 minutes, back-to-back threes. He came in clutch. I don't know if he can, I don't know if a bench player that really didn't get much minutes can thrive with more minutes. But the thing is you saw that in the postseason for the Celtics. So, you know what, maybe they can do it. Celtics are a pretty unbelievable team. You can never count them out. Whether they're down 4 players, 6 players, no players, they're going to make it work. But yeah, 3-1 without Irving so far. Don't know if he's going to play on Monday. Don't know if this is going to be a repetitive pattern. Missing 41 games last year, that's half the season. That's crazy. So, I don't know. The Celtics know that they can play well without their stars. So we'll see what happens. I mean, right now in the East, the Bucks stole the 1 spot from the Raptors. Raptors are a half game behind, though, but it's the Bucks, Raptors, Pacers, Sixers who are having some issues right now because Sixers, Jimmy Butler don't like you. Jimmy Butler doesn't really like anybody. Jimmy Butler, I don't know, bro. Honestly, I think you're definitely going to be following in Carmelo Anthony's footsteps. And the next t-shirt I'm going to be wearing is something along the lines of Jimmy Butler can't get along with anybody either. Maybe I'll put Paul Pierce on the shirt instead of it being KG. But, yeah, Celtics are sitting pretty in the 5th spot. They're 4.5 games behind the Bucks. Then behind them, it's the Heat, the Hornets, and the Nets. Again, what? The Nets? I don't know. But speaking of Nets, they are taking on the Nets on Monday at the TD Garden. All of January, it's pretty much home games. So if you guys want to go out there and see a game, I suggest going in the month of January because they have a ton of home games. And then they're going to be on the road for a little while in February. So catch them while they're here. Monday will be a good game to go to. Tickets are cheap because the Nets are terrible, but apparently now they're playoff worthy. Couldn't tell you how. But yes, this has been Boston Banner Bound IG edition. I hope what I said makes sense. I hope you guys liked what I had to say. Please tune in whenever you can, whether it's here, whether it's on my Facebook Live that I do for Dirty Water Media. I do that once a month where I talk Celtics. I have various guests that join me. I try and promote it as best I can. Also, I'm always looking for feedback, looking for questions, looking for topics to discuss that I can put my 2 cents into. So definitely let me know if you guys have any NBA questions, Celtics questions, or any sports questions. I'll try my best. I'm not good with hockey, though. Thank you so much. Tune in next time. Have a good weekend.